and I'm just going to start my thread wraps just behind the eye, work my thread down the shank, and tie. So first thing I'm going to do is tie in my Intruder Style. So I got some Intruder trailer wire, and I got a Gamakatsu octopus hook in size 2, and I'm just gonna make this, at least the length, maybe a little bit longer of the B10S. Make sure it stays on top here. Start cranking down a little bit. Make sure it stays on top of the shank. Right about there. Now this wire is very stiff and it will move, especially once you put thread wraps on the shank. So trim out. Probably not best to use a pair of scissors like this to cut this trailer wire, but I'm rolling in it, so I can afford to do that. Make a nice thread body over that the wire, and I'll go a wrap or two underneath just to kind of make sure it pulls it up, and some wraps on top again. So once you get that wire in there, I've got some tri-painted lead dumbbell eyes in chartreuse, and I'm going to tie those in just behind the eye, kind of right where I had my thread starting. Leave a little bit of room up front to tie it off. Purple and chartreuse together, who knew they would look so good? Center those, make some securing wraps, figure 8 it, and then build up a little thread body, and take some Zap-A-Gap or whatever super glue you got, and hit those thread wraps. Salmon get a little bit bigger than your average trout, so make sure that's holding in there nice and strong. Get the underside here, get some on the bottom of the eyes so they don't spin around on us. Let that dry for a sec. I don't know if hitting it with UV light helps it, but we'll give it a shot. More wraps. Kind of blend all that glue together. Once I let that dry a little bit, I'm gonna add some holographic Magnum Flashabou. So I've got a big clump here, and this is just gonna be hanging out the fly, so I'm gonna split it in half and tie it into the top of the shank here. I don't think you can ever have enough flash when you're fishing for pinks or silvers. Trim that up a little bit. Want it just a little bit past. A little bit past the hook there, trailer hook. So that in there. Take some purple Marabou blood quill and tie my tip in right in front of that flash boo. Now my excess here. I'm gonna palmer that. Capture my blood quill, secure it in there and trim it out, and then go back over it and try to get out those trapped fibers. Use my brush here, comb that back. So now I have a Fairflies brush. You know, scouring the internet and have not seen too many people use brushes by Fairflies to make a video. This brush is the steely purple pink, and it's got a bunch of rubber legs mixed in. So in the common Mr. Bojangles pattern, you know, from here, I mean, I've already changed it around quite a bit, but from here you would tie in a bunch of rubber legs in the back and then build up a little bit of body with some chenille or whatever you use, and then some more legs coming off. So these legs are already mixed in the brush, so a bunch of legs, and we're probably only going to get a couple turns out of this, but this makes life a lot easier, especially if you're trying to whip up a bunch of them. So I'm just going to clean up the tip of the brush a little bit, and then I'm going to tie that down onto the shank. Secure that with some tight wraps, and this is why I like the 210. I can really get in there and crank it down. And we're going to end it just behind the eyes here. So this part can be slightly challenging just because we're trying not to trap any of the rubber legs and keep stuff out of there. So I'm just going to palmer this brush around, working my way forward. Make sure I'm pulling back all the legs and fibers. And as I'm turning, I'm going to comb everything out. Just keeping a little bit of tension on the brush still. Secure that brush. And then I can trim out the brush. So, you know, used maybe a quarter of the brush on one fly there, but you know, got a bunch of wraps, saves you a lot of steps. So before I comb it, I'm just gonna make sure that everything's real snug and secure. Really crank down on my thread. And then I'll kind of comb everything out. Those rubber legs, get those trapped ones pulled back. Just see it all blend in with the rest of the fly. And then we'll build up a nice little thread head. Try and get it even. Then we'll coat that with some hard head, tack free. And so once we got that, build up our little bit of a collar here. Thread body, thread head. Go ahead and bring it up just behind the eye, and do a whip finish, and then I'll hit thread with some super glue, and I'll do one more whip finish. But I always make some wraps first to get that super glue on there, and then whip finish. Snip out my thread. Now we'll get some of that resin on there. Same thing, gonna dab some on the bodkin. So I'll hit my hard head here. Then really comb out everything. Get all those loose fibers and legs out from being trapped. Improved salmon killer. Right there.